This routine, Counting with a Number Line, is from Jessica Schumway's book, Number Sense Routines. Through this routine, we aim to develop students' estimation skills. We want them to be able to identify and describe number relationships and number patterns. We want them to develop an understanding of number magnitude. And another really important part is analysing our errors or our mistakes and then applying what we've learnt from those mistakes. For this routine, your students will need a write-on pocket, marker and eraser, and you'll also have a sheet that you've prepared with the number lines and the estimation boxes up the top. We start this routine by establishing what we're counting by. So today we're counting by 4s. And we write that up the top of our page. If we start at 4 and we're skip counting by 4, what will be the number at the end of the first line here? So students then write their estimate at the top of the page, right here. And then they begin skip counting on that first line. And the teacher then moves around the classroom, checking in and providing scaffolding prompts. When the students have finished skip counting that first line, they provide a signal to the teacher by putting their thumb against their chest. Now, what you're likely to see here is students then working it out in their head, then writing their estimates. So you'll see some students who they'll be 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, and so on, working it out and then writing their estimate up the top, which is not really an estimate, they've worked it out beforehand. Other students might be counting on their hands, doing the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so they're counting by ones. So we really want to develop a different belief system around estimation. And here I think it's probably useful to think of the concept of ish that Jo Bowler talks about in her book, Mathish. And an ish answer is an about answer, an around answer, near or close by answer. So we would say to students then, what's your ish answer? And we don't want to have lots of time doing it because then the students will go back to what I just spoke about in terms of skip counting it out or counting one by one to work out the answer and then write it down as their estimate. We want it to be fairly prompt and not give too much time for that. We also want to emphasise that it's not about getting it 100% correct straight away, first time, every time. That through this counting routine, it's about reviewing, it's about revising, it's about learning from our mistakes. And there's a culture of thinking that we want to be present in all of our maths classes. So the students there come up with their estimate or their ish answer, and then they've filled out their number line and they've put their thumb against their chest to signal to the teacher that they're done. The class then counts together by 4s, skip counting by 4s, and the teacher fills in the number line. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. The next stage is a class discussion or review. And at this point, you'll have some students who were spot on. They got it right. So they'll be high-fiving themselves, thinking they're super smart, they got it, yay, yay, yay. But what we really want to emphasise is the answer's not always the most important thing. What's really important is being able to explain and reason. How did you arrive at 40? And so we can then ask them, well, how did you work out that 40 would be at the end of the line if we were counting by fours? And the answer that you're probably going to then hear from is that they might say, okay, well, there's 10 hash marks, so it's 10 lots of 4, so that's 40. Then you're going to have some other students where it was their estimate or their ish answer was too high or too low. And again here we want to review this, we want to unpack that and ask questions like, why was it too high? Why was it too low? What were you thinking that led you to that answer? And a really crucial part of this discussion is next time. So what we do the same because it worked in this situation and you think it's going to work from here on, or what will you do that's different because of your experience with this situation? Now, in this situation, one of our students estimated 36. So in this case, then their estimate was a little too low. And so then we want to check in with them, provide prompts to their thinking in terms of why was it a little too low? And they might say, I counted the spaces. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there was 9 spaces. So I know that 10 times 4 is 40 and 1 less is 36. So if I came up with 36. And then we might say, well, what would you do different next time? And here we might throw it to the class in terms of what could this student do different next time? Someone might realise that it's not the spaces that are really crucial here, but it's actually the hash marks there. And so we've got 10 of those. So that's where you get your 10 lots of those hash marks equals 40, 10 lots of 4. We then repeat that same process for the second and third line, depending on how much time you have. Now here's a question for you. What do you think was the most common estimate for line 2? I was running this routine with a Year 3 class, and what do you think was the most common estimate for line 2, for this part here? The most common answer was 50. So this was really interesting to discuss, to review. And so when I asked them, well, how did you arrive at 50? What makes you think it was 50? And they said that the number line, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So there's 10 places in the number line, and so 40 plus 10 equals 50. Now, where might that thinking have come from? And I was racking my brain about this, and I was thinking that perhaps it stemmed from this. Recently, we'd been using number lines for addition, for number partners to 10 and 20. And each of those number lines went up in increments of 1, as you can see here. So what I'm thinking is perhaps their mental model of number lines was that they go up in increments of 1. And so if you have a number line that has 10 places, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, right up to 10. And so you just add that number on each time. So my key takeaway here is that we have to keep expanding their mental models and their ideas of what a number line can be. The final stage of this routine focuses on identifying and describing patterns. Here we can ask, what do you notice about the numbers as you look horizontally? What do you notice as you look vertically? What do you notice as you look diagonally? And here it's really important to be using that maths language. So for example, a student might notice a repeating 4 here in the ones column. And we might ask, what do you think's happening there so that we get that repeating 4? And will it continue? Why or why not? Another student might notice that pattern continues right across the number line. So let's have a look. So we've got 8 here in the ones column, 8, 8, 2, 2, 2, 6, 6, 6. So what's going on there? Why is that repeating? Another student might notice the 4, 8, 12 here. The 4 in this case is 40, 4 tens. The 8 in this case is 8 tens, so 80. And in this case, 12 tens is 120. So the key aspect here is to explore, to unpack what's going on, why is that happening? Another thing we do is make predictions. And we make predictions based on what we've found out, what we've learnt thus far. So let's give an example here. So a student might notice that as we move from one line to the next, from here to here to here, we're adding 40. So we've got 40 plus 40 equals 80. Then we've got our 80 plus 40 equals 120. Then we can check that on other parts of the line. Let's try from the 16. So we've got 16 plus 40 equals 56. Then 56 plus 40 equals 96. And we can see that across the line because we're adding 10 lots of 4 each time, which is 40, and we add that onto each number from above. So we can use that knowledge now to make predictions. So if we take the line of 16, 56, 96, what would be the next number here in the next number line? If we had another number line going across here with 10 hash marks again, what would be directly under the 96? And so here we can use what we've already learned before. We'd say, okay, well, we're adding 40 each time, so it's 96 plus 40. And here I can get to a friendly number, so that's plus 4 will get me to 100, a friendly number being a multiple of 10. So I've added 4, and that means I've got another 36 to go. Let's add 36 there, so that gets me to 136. So this number here is 136. So that's where we can use our knowledge to make predictions and then check it. So here are the stages for the counting with a number line routine. This is a fantastic thinking routine to really build students' number sense. Thanks to Jessica Schumway for the inspiration and the ideas and the process or the routine.